What's your best don't judge a book by its cover story? My neighbor Jake thought he owned our entire street. For months, he'd been parking his massive truck in my driveway while I was at work, blocking me in when I got home. Every time I asked him to move it, he'd laugh and say, "It's just a driveway, relax. What are you gonna do about it?" The first time it happened, I thought it was an honest mistake. I knocked politely and explained the situation. Jake looked me up and down and said, "Oh, you must be the new renter in the blue house." "Yeah, I've been using that spot for years." I told him I actually needed to park there since it was my driveway. He shrugged and said he'd move it when he got around to it. That was 3 hours later. The second time, I left a friendly note. He crumpled it up and threw it on my lawn. One day I left work early with a migraine and found his truck blocking my driveway again. I had to park 3 blocks away and walk home sick. When I knocked on his door, he answered in his bathrobe at 2 p.m. "You woke me up for this? It's just a parking spot, drama queen." I explained I was sick and just needed to get to my house. He actually laughed and said, "Should have thought about that before you decided to rent in a real neighborhood." That weekend, he escalated. I was hosting my girlfriend's parents for the first time, and they couldn't park because Jake's truck was there with a note on my windshield. "Thanks for the free parking, tenant boy." I had to explain to her parents why we were walking 4 blocks to dinner. Her dad, a pretty traditional guy, kept asking why I was letting some neighbor walk all over me. The breaking point came when Jake started parking there overnight. I'd wake up at 6 a.m. for work, and his truck would be there. When I'd knock, he'd ignore me completely. I started leaving earlier and earlier, but somehow Jake always beat me to it. One morning, I was running late for an important client meeting, and his truck was there again. I knocked for 10 minutes before he finally answered, clearly drunk from the night before. "What's your problem, renter boy? Some of us don't have to wake up at dawn to make rent." I missed my meeting. My boss was not happy. That night, I'd had enough. I left a polite note on his windshield asking him to please stop parking there because I needed access to my own driveway. He knocked on my door 30 minutes later, waving the note and absolutely losing it. "Listen here, you pathetic renter. I've lived here for 15 years. You've been here, what, 6 months? I'll park wherever I damn well please." He kept going about property values and how renters were ruining the neighborhood. Then he got personal. "You think leaving little notes makes you tough? You're probably some college kid whose daddy pays your rent anyway." He was wrong about the college part, but the daddy comment hit differently than he expected. "I own 3 houses on this street, kid. 3. You rent one tiny house and think you can tell me what to do? I pay more in property taxes than you make in a year." The next morning, his truck was there again, but this time with a new addition. He'd put an orange cone behind it with a sign, "Reserved for homeowners only." My girlfriend was furious. "Why don't you just call a tow truck?" I explained it was technically legal since part of his truck was on the street. The driveway situation was murky unless I could prove harassment. "Well, can't you talk to your dad about it? Maybe he has more pull in the neighborhood as the landlord." That's when I called him. "Hey dad, well, your tenant in the blue house has a neighbor problem." My dad was quiet for a moment. "Jake, big guy, drives a red Chevy. You know him?" "Oh, I know him very well. He's been late on rent twice this year." 2 hours later, Jake gets an eviction notice delivered by a process server. I watched from my window as he signed for it. Within minutes, he was banging on my door. "Did you call my landlord? Did you actually call and complain like some tattletale kid?" I told him I had no idea what he was talking about. "Don't play dumb. Someone complained about me to my landlord, and now I'm getting evicted. This is harassment." Jake came crawling over that evening, completely different energy. Gone was the confident homeowner act. "Look, I'm sorry about the parking thing. Can you please talk to your landlord about calling off my landlord? I've got kids, man. I can't get evicted." I just smiled and said, "You're looking at him. I'm his son. Haven't had problems with him since."